Hello. Welcome. California Restaurant Show. I'm so happy that you guys are here. We are gonna have some fun. It's an hour-long conversation about stories. So unfortunately for you guys, I know you think that I'm just gonna be talking down to you, but this is gonna be an interactive session. So get ready to get uncomfortable. We're gonna learn about social media. We're gonna learn about internet storytelling. A quick backstory on me. My name is Shawn Walchef. I own Cali BBQ and Cali BBQ Media. So I built a media company on top of my restaurant business. For 16 years in San Diego, we've been running Cali BBQ. We just opened up our third location on the San Diego Navy Exchange. Big deal for us. We opened on August 1st, thank you. And we have 2 locations inside Snapdragon Stadium where the San Diego State Aztecs play, and then we have our main master location. Today we're gonna be talking about what we call social storytelling. Be the show, not the commercial. How many of you, with a raise of hands, are on social media? Is there anybody that does not have a social media account? Nobody. So I have a problem with social media, the term social media. I have a problem with the term Facebook. I have a problem with the term TikTok. I have a problem with the term YouTube. And the reason is because when I say those things, every single person here has an idea in their head of what that means. When I say YouTube, you think something. If I say Facebook, you think something subjectively. If I say Twitter, X, you think something. If I say Instagram, you think something. And what I'm here to tell all of you is that we need to remove the logo and only think about storytelling. No one is coming to tell your story. So I have a show, multiple shows, one of them called Restaurant Influencers. That was the second show that we created. The first show that we started as a media company in 2017 is called Digital Hospitality. When we first started our podcast, no one was listening. No one was watching our videos. Yet we kept going. We kept producing content, telling stories about restaurants, telling stories about technology, telling stories about sales, telling stories about marketing, chasing our curiosity, knowing that there was someone on earth that had access to the internet that would find us on YouTube, that would find us on Apple Podcast, that would find us on LinkedIn, that would find us on Facebook. And now I'm here to share with this group something that happened last week. So last week we were hired, Cali BBQ Media was hired by Big Chicken. The Big Chicken brand is Shaquille O'Neal, his company. They have 40 open restaurants. They have hundreds more in development. They had their annual conference, their second annual conference in Las Vegas at the Virgin Hotel. Our media team was asked to go and cover that event for them. So we went to the Big Chicken location, location number 1. We filmed videos. We filmed their chief executive officer. They had Dana White, who started the UFC. He was there to give a keynote, and the big man himself. I was able to spend 27 minutes on camera for restaurant influencers because of all the things that we're going to talk about today. It's not going to happen overnight. But I promise you, the internet is not going anywhere. And if you have the courage to look stupid, to sound stupid, and to do it day over day over day. And let's be honest, we're all here in the restaurant business. My friend over here, who just came up to me, said he feels like a fish out of water. I said, well, welcome. We're all fishes out of water. We're crazy people. Every single one of us are crazy people. This is a hard business. 16 years of running restaurants, it hasn't gotten easier. I'm crazy enough to start a media company on top of it. I'm super crazy. But the good news is that I'm here to share all of the secrets with you guys, to get a little bit uncomfortable, to have a little fun today so that you can take something back and hopefully take that thing in your pocket. You have a media machine in your pocket. Are you willing to speak your truth? I thought when we opened up our restaurant, when we were failing, No one was coming. 2008, bad time to open up a restaurant. Picked a bad location, Spring Valley. Picked a very difficult category, barbecue on the West Coast. Anybody that comes from any barbecue meccas, you laugh when I say Cali BBQ, but we took barbecue seriously. We took hospitality seriously. We took taking care of our community seriously. But none of it mattered. I thought if we did all that, the local news would come and say, Shawn, you're doing such great barbecue in a difficult location. You're taking care of the community. We'd love to feature you. No one came. I thought the newspaper would care. San Diego Union Tribune, no one cared. I thought San Diego Magazine would care. Nobody cared. And at that point, I realized no one is coming to tell my story. Every single one of you. I don't care if you own a restaurant, I don't care if you own a catering company, I don't care if you sell to restaurants, products or services. Every single one of us has one of these and we take it for granted. Myself included. I take this for granted. The most powerful device that's ever been given to a business owner. I'm going to play a quick clip of this interview with Shaquille O'Neal, and then we're going to go through what I call an orange tree story, which I believe every single one of you has an orange tree story. So I'm sorry the audio doesn't work on this side, but just a real quick highlight for our little barbecue business in San Diego, Shaquille O'Neal.
You own Cali BBQ?
My wife owns Cali. I work for my wife.
Give me a. I've heard of your spots, and I've been there.
You've heard of my spot?
Yeah, and I've been there many times.
Look at that. You've been there many times.
The one on
many times.
What's the one on?
That's the one in the place.
No, but what street is it on?
Troy Street.
Oh yeah, I remember the one on. Troy.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. There it is, Spring Valley. You get some love from Uncle Shaq.
So that's Shaq saying that he's been to our barbecue restaurant in Spring Valley, making a joke. We haven't seen Shaq, not yet, but one day, Shaquille O'Neal, we would love to see you in Spring Valley. How did you find out about the show? Anybody raise their hand? Did you find out on social media? Raise your hand if you found out about this show on social media. So recently, I started talking on podcasts that I go on. I started talking on stages about a theory that I have. I talk all the time, every single day, Zoom calls, podcasts, stages, about content, about telling your story. No one's coming to tell your story. I started thinking a lot about our restaurant story at Cali BBQ. We make content that most restaurants don't make. So we made a Toast unboxing video. Toast is our primary technology partner. We switched from Aloha to Toast in 2020 during the pandemic. And I told them we're going to make videos about the onboarding process, about going live, all the ups, all the downs. And they didn't believe me until we actually did the work. So we started doing work documenting the technology in our restaurants. Now we have incredible restaurant partners that believe in us to help them with their storytelling. But when I started to talk to restaurant owners about what are we posting on social, I started getting a lot of different answers, a lot of different data. Some people post themselves. Some people have an agency that posts on behalf of the restaurant. Not a lot of people are posting videos. Not a lot of people are posting personal stories. People take pictures of food. They put it on the internet. Picture, you're a burger restaurant, picture of a burger, put it on Facebook, call it a day. Is that what people want? Like, what do you want? What do you care about? If you love Facebook, if you love Instagram, if you love Yelp, if you love Google, what are you looking for? Are you looking for a story? Or are you looking for a commercial? Be the show, not the commercial. I have a 7-year-old boy, Colleen. I have a 5-year-old girl, Mila. And I watched them as they grew up. When they first started watching YouTube Kids, the first digital button that they learned how to press, skip, 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 skip. And these are YouTube commercials for kids. But But why do they hit skip? The same reason every single one of us hits skip. The same reason every one of us has a DVR and we fast forward commercials. We don't want to be sold. We don't want to be advertised to. But we want to hear a story. I want to be entertained. I want to be educated. So I started talking about this orange tree. And even for someone like me that has multiple podcasts, does video content, goes and speaks on stages, even I hadn't talked about this orange tree. And that led me down the path of what is an orange tree story, and that every business owner has an orange tree story that they're not sharing. So we're going to talk about this orange tree. So if you come and visit our restaurant in Spring Valley, in the front of the restaurant, there's an orange tree that my grandfather, my Bulgarian grandfather, planted with my Bulgarian uncle. This was way back in the day, before I owned the restaurant, when my grandfather ran the restaurant. So back in 1994, him and my uncle planted an orange tree because they love trees. They love fruit trees. They also built a fountain, this Bulgarian fountain. They planted rose bushes. They wanted to make it nice. They wanted to remind themselves of their old country, of Bulgaria. So me and my business partner, Corey Robinson, 2008, took over the restaurant. So grateful that my grandfather was able to see us take over that restaurant. He passed away that same year, but for 3 months he was able to see his grandson take over the restaurant. That orange tree, we started showing sports. We took over this business to turn it from a breakfast restaurant into a sports bar, into a barbecue business. But we would do fight nights, UFCs, huge Charger bar. And I remember it was a Monday night football game about 4 years into us taking over, so 2012. And while we were there, packed, standing room only, huge Monday night game, Chargers versus Raiders, a fight broke out in our bar. 2 fans, Charger fan, Raider fan. They started fighting in the bar, took it from the bar out to the front of the restaurant. They ended up fighting and knocking over my grandfather's fountain, shattering it to a million pieces. I was so devastated. I talked to my girlfriend at the time, who was also Bulgarian. She said, "Shawn, we have to rebuild the fountain." I said, "Okay, we'll rebuild the fountain." So 2012, we rebuilt the fountain next to the orange tree. Now fast forward 2020, we decided to go all in on barbecue. We wanted to build the Amazon of barbecue, add more smokers, take out the back patio. So this is the construction. It's the front of the restaurant. This is Eric, my general manager. So we had multiple meetings. Eric, Steven, Gene, myself, Howard, all talking about how are we going to build this master smokehouse, add these smokers, and also allow our delivery truck to come and get fresh barbecue. So every single day we're cooking brisket, we're cooking ribs. How are we going to load the brisket out, load the barbecue out, but also get deliveries in? Well, the only way we're going to do this is if we remove this orange tree. Right? It's the only way it's going to happen. I will never forget multiple meetings with those people. And you know what? One person spoke up, and it was my wife. My wife, Rositsa, the Bulgarian, she goes, "There's no fucking way you're removing that orange tree." She fought the same way my grandfather would have fought to keep that orange tree. There's a picture of my wife, my son, at the orange tree before we built the smokers. It's a picture of my son. That's my daughter in my wife's belly. And there's the wolf pack, all standing at the front of the restaurant, at the orange tree. And why do I share this orange tree story with you guys? It's because I had never started talking about it until recently. And the more that I started talking about it, the more that the people that were listening started going, thank you for sharing your orange tree story. Those are the exact stories that I need to post on LinkedIn. That's the exact thing I need to talk about on YouTube. It's the exact thing I need to post in Facebook. Every single one of us. If you come to our restaurant, you'll see the orange tree. There's nothing magical about it, outside of the fact that you guys all know the story. There's no plaque to my grandfather. There's nothing that says my wife fought for this orange tree. It's just an unassuming orange tree that is literally preventing the barbecue truck from getting things loaded into it. But we've figured it out. It's all about persistence, and it's all about sharing the story. So for me, be the show, not the commercial. I'm not here talking to you about brisket or ribs or why we're the best barbecue in San Diego. Who cares? Nobody cares. But when I have CEOs of technology companies that fly from the other side of the earth and they fly into San Diego, and the first place that they come is to come to Cali BBQ, to make a video with me, to be on a podcast with me, to ask me about the orange tree, to take a selfie. That's why story matters. That's why we all work so hard in this business. We're just trying to figure it out. And I'm here to tell you, honestly, 16 years since we started our restaurant, we still don't have it figured out. But I have a magical team that's in San Diego right now at the Navy Exchange, getting ready for Snapdragon events, running our Spring Valley location. I've got Tony in the back that's recording this so that we can republish this onto the internet at another time. We're living through the greatest era ever to be in business if we're willing to get personal. You know, I've kind of vilified Kevin Costner in The Field of Dreams. Anybody know The Field of Dreams? What's the mantra of The Field of Dreams?
Build it and they will come.
If you build it, they will come. It's the biggest lie that's ever been told to any restaurant owner, to any entrepreneur, to any business owner. If you build it, no, they're not coming. They're not coming and they don't care. You have to make them care. If you're willing to make them care, then people will come. But you also have to be willing to look stupid, sound stupid, and do all the work. I'm going to give you guys an equation. So this is a content creation equation. This is how you will win on the internet. How many people want to put out a quality post on the internet? Raise your hand. You all know what you like. You know what you want your restaurant to look like. So the answer to creating quality content on the internet, quantity plus speed plus consistency will eventually equal quality. Quantity plus speed plus consistency will eventually equal quality. It doesn't go the other way around. You don't get quality first. When we first started making brisket, terrible. We made a lot of bad brisket, and we did it every single day. And we did it with speed. And now guess what? 16 years later, every single day, our brisket is better. Our podcasts are better. Our videos are better. Our blog posts are better. But that doesn't mean that we're done. We're just getting started. It's unbelievable that I had Shaquille O'Neal on my show. It's absolutely unbelievable. And yet it's just the beginning. Like literally, you cannot dream big enough. Wherever your restaurant is located, you have a story, you have a reason, you have an orange tree. You have an orange tree. You have your version of the orange tree. What is that orange tree story? Does anybody have the courage to give me a 60-second orange tree story? Raise your hand. Come on up. Thank you. Perfect. Well, let's get him on camera. This is all on YouTube and repurposed TikTok. Come on up. What's your name?
Kevin Hoy from Smart Apron.
Kevin,
Hey,
my
how you doing?
man. What's up? How you doing, Kieran?
Good.
All right, let's go. So let's hear your orange tree story.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Kevin Hoy. I'm from Smart Apron with my son, Kieran Hoy. So, I guess our orange tree story is this. I started a company called Smart Apron. So what it is basically like a new generation of apron. So you can Google it and look us up. So it was probably more than 15 years ago I came up with the prototype. Everything was going great. We made a huge manufacturing purchase over in China. They came over at 20,000 units. Went down to our stores and they started to rip literally 20,000 units. So I'm like, what? So I had to kind of pause it. And my family invested money. We had everybody into our product, that was for sure. So it was probably, Kieran was a junior in high school. And so at that point, I said, you know what? I'm leaving those boxes. They're sitting in the garage. I'm not going to do Smart Apron anymore. Well, so Kieran came.
So I took a lot of business classes in high school, and one of the projects, our final project for my junior year, was we had to make our own product. So I went to my dad, I asked him, hey, you made a product 20 years ago, why don't I just use the Smart Apron? So we had to research the manufacturing, the retail price, our customers, everything. Long story short, I got an A+ on the project. I had way more information than anyone needed to have at age 16. So then after I did my project, my presentation, all the kids loved it. Their next question was like, where do we buy it? Is this a real thing? Can we use it? Because a lot of them worked in restaurants. They were 16, 17. So then I went back to my dad and I said, why don't we take another shot at it? So that's when we really focused on our brand story, our marketing, really to make it a modern product. And we kind of more focused on the retail and to try and get a personal connection with our customers, and that's kind of where we saw the Smart Apron going from there.
So you and your dad.
Yep.
And I want to say too is when we started, we had a dry erase board. I think we had 50 items. And again, he was only 16, 17. I said, okay, we got to work through all of these different items, and we did. We check them off, and they took years. So again, I like what Shawn just touched on in his presentation is there's going to be those things that you think are immovable. You're never going to get beyond it, but you actually do. So anyway, thank you very much for listening to us.
Awesome. Anybody else? Right here. Please, of course. Thank you.
Another apron story.
Apron.
My name is Art San. Recently I started a company called Heaven's Kitchen Safety and Injury Prevention Workshop. Backtrack before that, COVID, I had a
A
stroke.
little bit closer.
Back in 2020, I had a stroke, and then COVID happened. After that, there was a lot of downtime. So since that time, I've created and invented products. But the most recent one is this apron. It's the world's first lightweight splatter and burn resistant apron, and it ties into the other gentleman. Like watching the show, I almost hit a neighborhood, and you see injuries happening, people getting burned all the time. You go, there's a need, there's a necessity to create a safety and injury prevention program for the culinary industry. And that's when I invented the
Awesome. Are you on social media?
yes,
What's your handle?
chef_artsan. I'm also a product placement sponsor here at this event as well.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
You got it.
Awesome.
Thank you. Any questions? Social media, storytelling. Don't be shy. Go ahead. Tell your story.
Hi everybody, Earl Chavez, Big Earl's Barbecue, social media platforms, Big Earl's Barbecue, Ukiah, California. How did I start my business? Every Sunday our family would get together for dinner. That was the thing. So we would always cook, and that was always my job, was to always cook. So I thought during COVID it'd be great to leave my financial job and start a business. That's what the normal thing to do during COVID is. Because I wanted to make sure that I kept my family close, I always wanted to be cooking. We decided to start a barbecue business, and we are just learning, evolving, growing, changing. Digital hospitality, when I would go back and do long drives, I would be on the podcast listening to stuff, sit there, drive with one hand, with a notepad with all the businesses that he was talking about, and go back and research them. Then I started to evolve and change where I started to want to go interview people. I come from a background of customer service, so I'm fascinated with management and leadership, so I'm always talking to people about what is customer service, why does someone want to work here, what makes people want to stay here. So we've really just changed, and I've even gone away from posting the videos about, you know, buy my product, buy my food, buy our service. It's more just, hey, you know what? We're having fun. My team is having fun. I get paid now to cook. I get paid to go to amazing locations and cater these wonderful events that a normal person would never have access to. I get to bring my family. I get to bring my wife. My kids are on the line. My youngest daughter loves to do the desserts because she counts, and then she counts the amount of people that are in line because she knows that if the extra desserts are there, she gets to eat. So I'm bringing them along on my journey and our journey to teach them about the business, but more importantly, teach them customer service, being able to interact with adults, and still having fun, being the best.
Proud of you. Proud of you. Thank you. You ready? Come on up. No one's coming to tell your story. Just as an FYI, if you don't take anything from this, no one's coming.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Leo Ginsberg. We're with Talk and Tonic. We're a PR and marketing firm for the hospitality industry. You might have walked past our booth. It's completely empty. It's kind of my orange tree story today. We had a big shipping issue and nothing showed up. So my partner Jack and I over there kind of made this decision of like, we're not just going to stand by an empty booth. We're probably the most important part of the booth anyway. So we've just been going around and talking to people and going off of what he said here. Like, I come from a sales background. I don't come from a PR and marketing background. So as I've been talking to everybody here, everybody's super nice. I just kind of talk about myself and my own personal story. And it's been going great. So there's definitely truth to it. Like, people care more about you than they do about your product. It might sound harsh, but they do. Like, we're people. We like people more than we like things. So it's really what it's all about. So feel free to come and talk to us. We won't be at the booth, but we'll be walking around.
Thank you. Anybody else? Questions? Questions or your orange tree story?
Thank you. My name is Patty Fleetwood. I'm a personal chef. I've been cooking for about 10 years. Amazingly enough, before that, I didn't know how to cook. Before I went to culinary school, there was a kind of a left turn that happened in my life back then, and I became a single mom and had to start my life over. And I discovered a pattern in my email box of adventure and cooking newsletters. So I decided to go to culinary school. When it came time to figure out what my focus should be, I realized that my internship at what's called the Painted Turtle Camp, which is part of the Hole in the Wall Camp series, originally started by Paul Newman. So yes, Newman's own products, all the profits do go towards these medical camps all over the country. I worked there for 2 summers, and that completely changed my life. The stuff that we take for granted is amazing. I had probably a 7-year-old boy come up to me one day after lunch, and he told me it was his first time being able to eat pizza because of all his medical restrictions. He couldn't eat normally what you and I could eat. And I realized many years later that that's completely changed my life. So my focus is special diets. So whether it's in-home meal prep, fancy dinner parties, what have you, I do all the normal stuff that a personal chef does. But my focus, while I could cook you a steak and that sort of thing, my focus is special diets. And so I just started my business last year. This is my first year starting marketing.
Amazing. Thank you. Oh yeah, your handle. Plug it.
My handle is Cook, Learn, Feast because I cook, but I also teach cooking classes and cooking parties because everybody loves to eat. And I also do in-home meal prep.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Question.
Hi, my name is Rita and I'm from San Diego too. I do the marketing and also operations for our deli. It's the Martin Deli down the street from Snapdragon. We're in a very central location and great liquor store with the high-end stuff. But our deli is what's doing well, not too bad, but can do better. So my goal is to we do hire Spot Hopper that does all of our social media, but to your point of making it more like videos and making it more personal, I have workers that are very reluctant to do media. They don't want their faces on TV. They don't want their faces on social media. How can you advise somebody in my position that's trying to get our store to be more present and more personal and get more engaging when we have staff that's a little resistant to the idea?
Sure. So, great question. The question is, how do you get staff that are resistant to do videos to do videos? The answer is it starts with the top. So if I'm not willing to look uncomfortable making barbecue, and when I say making barbecue, I'm terrible at making barbecue. But because I've done it so many times next to Bernice, who's our pit master. So if you go on Cali BBQ's TikTok page or our Instagram page, you'll see we do an open kitchen. So I'm literally with my phone watching Bernice fabricate ribs, watching her prepare brisket. But in the beginning, she wasn't comfortable with me doing that until I started doing it. So you can't force your staff to want to be on camera, but they can see that you care. And when they see that you care, and the owners care, and the leadership cares, and the managers care, now all of a sudden people, like Eric, the person that was up here, Eric, my general manager, my business partner, we have this dance where like, I will tell him, Eric, we're making videos today for Toast. And he's like, I'm not doing videos. And like, we'll go back and forth for a whole day until I put the camera in his face and like, Eric, we're doing video. And then he'll do the video and he'll absolutely love it. Like the point is like, you just have to get into the deep end and swim.
I guess I'll take the first shot at it.
You take the first, and it goes back to the equation. Quantity, speed, consistency, eventually will equal quality. But you gotta do it every single day. Like it just gotta become a habit. You ready? Orange tree story. Man that's ready to start making a lot of videos.
Hi there. My name's Ryan Handel. So I've been in the restaurant industry for 20-something years now. And I opened up my first restaurants back in 2010. And I was able to open up a handful of locations. But the one thing I saw a need for was like, the accounting and bookkeeping. I was sick of all of the outsourced accounting and bookkeeping that was available because I was getting lackluster reporting. It was really expensive. And I was sick of all of the accountants and bookkeepers being antiquated in a way. So right before the pandemic, while I had owned restaurants, I was like, there's gotta be a better way of doing this. So I've always been kind of like a numbers dude. And so I was like, let's figure out a way to use software, bring software together into QuickBooks Online, and let's try to streamline the accounting and bookkeeping so that way restaurants can save money and get more transparent financials. Started this back in 2019. Now, fast forward to now, I don't really deal with my restaurants that much anymore. I've got other people that deal with it, but because I'm a restaurant person to start, and I come from the bookkeeping angle, we've been really able to grow at a fast rate because we try to take a very tech-forward approach to the accounting and bookkeeping to save everyone time and money. So ultimately, that's my main business nowadays. That's how I'm starting to work with Shawn. But we're called Fix. It's called getmyfix.com. So read into that any way you want. But ultimately, we have a booth right over there, and ultimately that's my main business. I saw a need, started working at it. I get to talk to so many other restaurants and hear their pain points and come from it from like a restaurateur standpoint versus just an accounting standpoint. And that's like our passion. I get to talk to a lot of other restaurant people like yourself. So thank you.
Is Kevin Costner coming? Kevin's not coming to promote? If you build it, they will come. If you build a software company, are they going to come and promote it?
Sure, they should. Yeah, it's Get My Fix with an E. So it's like a prefix menu, so F-I-X-E. So come take a look. There's a bunch of us with green shirts running around, but we try to take a tech-forward approach, and it's all coming from pain points that a lot of you have probably experienced at your own restaurant. So hopefully we can see and shake some hands and build our business.
What I appreciate is that Ryan's willing to do the work. I talk to executives, CEOs, founders all the time, and I tell them about this crazy secret. It's called the internet. The internet. YouTube matters, Instagram matters, TikTok matters, Facebook matters. All of these things that we call social media, no one's going to tell the story like he does. So now he's going to be uncomfortable, and I appreciate you coming up here. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Anybody else have an orange tree story? Here we go. Oh, come on down. Let's hear the orange tree story, my friend.
How are you?
What's up?
I'm Scott Porter with San Diablo Artisan Churros. Has anyone had our churros yet? Okay, so we're at the end here, that black and white booth down there. So my story began when I did an internship in Mexico City a long time ago. I went to this magical little historical district called Coyoacan in Mexico City. They're famous for their street food. They had fresh, filled churros. And it was the first time that I had fresh, filled churros. I lost my mind. I thought, why do we have such mediocre churros in the United States? They always smell and sound better than they actually are. And so, some nods, people are like, yeah. So it was an idea in the back of my head. You know how when we travel, we find really great food and we're like, why can't we have that back at home? That's what I thought. Years later, about 8 years ago, I decided it was the right time. And so I was like, how am I gonna start this? How am I gonna launch this? I wanted to start a catering business and an events business. So in Utah, of all places, there's a harvest festival called Corn Bellies. It's a 6-week corn mazes and all sorts of like fun harvest things, pumpkin patch, all that stuff. And so I didn't have the business idea. I saw on their website they were looking for new vendors. And so I contacted them and I said, hey, I see that you guys are looking for vendors at Corn Bellies. And she says, yeah, what do you sell? We didn't have any business plan, nothing had been set up. I said, artisan filled churros. And she said, oh my gosh, it's been our dream to have filled churros at Corn Bellies. And I was like, baby, your dream's about ready to come true. So then she said, I'm like, that's great, that's what we do. She said, fantastic. Well, how long have you been in business? I said, well, we would be launching at Corn Bellies. And she's like, oh, I could tell on the other end of the phone she was not into it. And I said, listen, why don't we do this? I said, I'll bring you and anyone else that's involved in the business making decision. I'll bring you a full tasting of all the different filling flavors we have and everything. And she said, oh, that's fantastic. We're meeting with everyone and making the final decisions in 3 days. Can you come? And I said, absolutely. And I'm like, never. So I'd only made the recipe twice. We didn't have a brand name, and we had to all of a sudden come up with a business in 3 days. So anyway, I called my friend that had just left her job at Goldman Sachs to be a baker, and I'm like, Mindy, what are you doing all day tomorrow? Because I think I'm starting a churro business, and I need your help. So long story short, we did the tasting, came up with the brand name San Diablo, created a website, a look, and invented all these filling flavors in those 3 days. And then we did the tasting. They're like, these are amazing. Do you think you could do 2 stations in Corn Bellies instead of just 1? I said, absolutely. Again, did not have any stations at all. So anyway, 6 weeks later we launched, and then that was about 8 years ago. We've since done about 8,000 events, catering, weddings, parties, fairs, festivals. We're here in Southern California, also in Utah. We have a churro making kit because we want to help you live your best churro lives. And then we also just launched this year a whole line of frozen churros for restaurants and food service, which is why we're here. And so really exciting, really great to be here. We just, we want to fill lives with happiness. We just do it one churro at a time. So please come by and try our churros and see what you've been missing.
The magical thing about that, Scott, so I know Scott, we've met probably 3 times, I think. Yeah. This is our second in real life, met at the Chicago National Restaurant Association show, but I learned about his churro story, but I didn't hear that story. And I think it goes to the reason why we are so repetitive. I study comedians. I love Jerry Seinfeld, I love Kevin Hart, I love all the greats, Eddie Murphy, you name it. By the time they get to a big stage, by the time they get to a big stadium, by the time they get to a Netflix special, how many times have they told that same joke? Thousands, tens of thousands. But as owners, we think that once we tell our story, everybody knows. There are people right now eating at Cali BBQ that don't know anything about our orange tree. That don't know anything about me, about my grandfather, about my family, about why we cook barbecue. They don't even know that we have a location at the Navy base. You cannot tell your story enough. It was awesome.
Thank you.
Can't wait to go eat some churros.
San Diablo churros.
San Diablo churros. That's the Instagram handle. My man. Mic check.
Mic check, mic check. So, Jason Brooks, I'm actually a professional speaker. Now, what's crazy is, what most people don't know is that I used to stutter. And I'm talking about bad. At the age of like 6, I was in school. My parents would take me out of class, put me in a special class just to learn how to breathe. Because I could not finish a sentence. It just wouldn't happen. Now, the question is, how does one go from stuttering, scared to speak, being called all kind of names, to standing on stage, speaking to hundreds and thousands of strangers, and sometimes off of the top of your head? That's like being scared of a glass of water and jumping into the ocean at night. It's just hard. But one thing that I figured out was in the restaurant business, my first job was as a dishwasher. Why? Because I could put my head down, stand in a corner, knock out the dishes. But what I didn't know is that in our business, as you get good at what you do, you then have to start calling back orders. If you're then that good at what you do, you then have to lead a team on your shift. If you then get better, you not only have to use your voice, but you have to use the voice of others that are around you. And that's whenever I started to really dig into how do I get better at using my voice. That's what really attracted me to Cali BBQ. This understanding of using your voice, telling your story, only you can do it. Even when I thought through and fought through the leadership aspect of what I did, I knew that I had to find my voice and use the voices of others around me to help manage, lead, and coach people to use their voices too. So, very short story, a lot more details, but I love the thought of you're the only one that's gonna tell your story. So take the QSC, quantity, speed, and consistency, in order to get that better quality in your voice and what you do. Thank you, Shawn.
My man. Question? What? Speed. Okay, great question. Quantity, obviously that's easy to figure out. It's doing a lot. When you start creating content, and by creating content, I don't mean having a media team like I do right now. I mean like taking out your phone. So actually, if everyone can take out their phone, how fast can you get to your camera app? Is it on your home screen? Nodding our heads, yep. Go to your, if you have an iPhone, go to your photos. How many photos do you have? How many videos do you have? Now I love photos.
27,000 photos.
27,000 photos. Anybody beat 27,000? 61,000 photos. How many videos? 20,000 videos? 3,900 videos. 493. We need more video.
Yep.
What do we got, Scott?
4,093.
4,000. We still need more. How many?
67,000 photos.
67,000 photos.
6,242 videos.
6,200 and what? 42 videos. Magical. So back to the speed question. Taking the photo, taking the video. Now it's in the cloud. The speed is actually hitting publish on Facebook, on YouTube, on TikTok, on LinkedIn. And the problem that we all have, myself included, the more takes that you do, the more you judge yourself. How did I look? How did I sound? Did I stutter? Did I say the right thing? How did it look? Was the lighting good? Was the lighting bad? Now all of a sudden you've posted nothing. The event had happened and now it's gone. How many of you have posted today on a social media account of yours that you're here at the California Restaurant Association show? 1, 2, video, photo. Video and photo. 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 Video. My man, video. 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 Okay, my challenge to everybody here that didn't raise your hand is to do a video. By do a video, I mean make a video, less than 60 seconds. Why did you leave your restaurant? Why are you here at this show? And why does it matter? We all made a decision to be sitting right here today, come to this show, hopefully learn something, hopefully improve our restaurants, hopefully improve our business. There are people that follow you, that love you, and I'll tell you right now, they'll ask you, why are you posting a video? And that's scary. In the beginning, when you start posting, people will look at you and go, who do you think you are? They still tell me that. Shawn, you post a lot of videos. I'm like, you think I post a lot of videos now? Wait till you see how many videos I post in 5 years. All we do is post all day long. Because you cannot tell the joke. You cannot tell the orange story enough. Why? Because no one knows who I am. No one knows who you are. No one knows who your restaurant is. I'm so fortunate that I get to interview some of the biggest names in the restaurant space. Emeril Lagasse, Robert Irvine, John Taffer, Shaquille O'Neal. Do you know how many people know Shaquille O'Neal has a chicken company? Not many. Did any of you guys know about Big Chicken before? Couple? That tells you everything you need to know. You literally cannot tell your story enough. So I'm going to ask for, before we wrap up, any final questions? Shawn.
Okay, I just wanted to ask, because there's a bunch of things that happen to us on a day-to-day basis, a lot of good content that comes our ways.
Yep.
But how do we discern what stories that we feel like should be shared with others? Right? And there's so many things that we experience. How do you know which ones would be the most effective or that would get through to people when we shape our content?
Great question. And I think for me, I'll explain it with the difference between two platforms. Why do we use Facebook? Give me a generalization about Facebook. Personal, family, yeah? Why do we use LinkedIn? Business platform? Okay. For me, I don't overthink content, I just live my life. I don't have a personal account and I don't have a business account. You get the Shawn account. I'm a restaurant owner, I do media, I love the Chargers, I love my family, I'm a dad, I'm a husband. That way I don't have to think about what do people want. What does my LinkedIn audience want? What does my Facebook audience want? I just tell a video. I'm here in Los Angeles. And because I'm willing to post that I'm here in Los Angeles, I have a lot of amazing people that I've never met in real life that now for the first time, they've seen me on LinkedIn, they see me on YouTube. Now for the first time, they're like, what's up, Shawn? Let's take a selfie. Those people are all in your community. And the craziest thing is once you start doing it, other business owners will reach out to you and say, how do you do it? Literally, every single business needs to do this stuff. You have a restaurant. We're in the restaurant business. Like, we're talking about hospitality. That's fun. I talk to insurance people. I talk to, you name the type of business, everyone needs to be making content. We're lucky we're in the restaurant business. Did that answer your question? Sure. Sweet. All right, everybody needs to stand up so we can take a selfie. Group selfie. Stand up, stand up. Let's get, yeah. We're gonna see how many people can get over here into this middle area. Come on down, let's go. Yeah. There we go. All right, ready? 1, hands up. 1, 2, 3. That's the photo. Now, hands up. Everybody hands up. Orange tree, that's the story. We're all gonna go post a video. Tag me, I will repost it. You guys are the best.